essence of love, bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law. The daily word for today is Sunday, March 9th. I am awake and fully present to life. Awakening from sleep, I pause for a moment to feel the energy of a new day. Birds outside my window sing a greeting. My still closed eyelids sense the morning light, letting go of the delicious relaxation of sleep. I stretch my limbs, open my eyes, and rise from my bed. Awake, fully present in mind, body, and soul, to each activity of this day and to each person I meet. I feel truly connected. I engage fully with my daily work, study, prayer, and recreation. I notice details in my surroundings and see expressions of love and kindness I may have overlooked. Each moment becomes more vivid and more meaningful. Nothing feels ordinary when I am awake. My life is a journey of discovery and appreciation. And what I say to you, I say to all. Keep awake. Mark 13:37.
God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I know we're a little bit out of order if anyone else follows this piece of paper. I wanted to bring into prayer this statement of being. So bring to mind anybody or any situation that you'd like to hold in prayer in this moment. And I want you to bring in the statement of truth that we are ever one. And whoever you're holding in prayer, whatever situation you're holding in prayer, is one with this perfect life, with this perfect love with God. And that we are one with every other one that is. And so as we bring that truth to our mind, remember that right where they are, right in that situation that you may be praying for, that wherever that person is, whatever their situation is that you may be praying for, right there God is. So let's take a moment to speak any names out loud that you'd like to hold in prayer. There's never a story And whether we speak those names aloud or not, we know that they are heard. So today I hold a prayer to each of you. Today we hold a prayer of anyone in need of healing, employment, anyone who may be in fear or worry. Today we hold a prayer of anyone who may feel lost or alone in need of a friend. And from the center of our heart, we send out our love into each and every one of those hearts, each person that we pray for, into the hearts of people all around the world, even those that we don't know. So that right there they may feel that love and that presence of the Christ within each and every one. And we allow our heart to be comforted, knowing that right where they are, God is and all is possible. And we welcome into our heart the understanding that God is working through us. And sometimes we are the answer to these prayers. So in this moment, we bring to our mind the vision of our prayers answered. And we remember that sometimes those answers show up different than what we picture. And so we say this or something greater. And with the knowing that all things are possible, we simply say thank you. Thank you, God. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. And now we take that vision into our hearts a little bit deeper as we step into those visions for ourselves in quiet meditation. I invite you to bring that same assurance, that blessed assurance, into your mind. And picture yourself as whole and healthy, forgiven and forgiving, loved and loving, vibrant and awake. And imagine a bright light, that light of spirit coming down through you and washing over your thoughts, your memories, your physical self, your body, your organs, every cell in your body, and moving through you down into the earth, connecting you to all that is in the physical sense, to everyone, to the earth, to all living things. And then bring that brilliant ray of light back up through the bottom of your feet, back through your body, up through the top of your head, connecting you to all that is spiritually. To the entire universe, we bring that back into our minds and into our hearts, and we send that out to the world. So I invite you to bring to your mind a heart connection, whatever that may look like for you. From your heart to those that you love, those that you pray for, and even further to those that we don't know. And see that light going from your heart to theirs and theirs to the next person. And that light moving from their heart to the next one. From that heart to the next. Picture that light in your mind's eye moving from one person to all other people. Radiating this entire earth with light and love. And then bring that love back into your heart and allow it to fill you up, to embrace you, to comfort you right where you are. And just take one more deep breath and breathe that love and that light into the essence of your entire being. And if you feel comfortable, put your hand on your heart and just hold it there for just a moment. Feel the beat of your heart. Breath moving through your lungs, and that love and light that is who you truly are. And one more collective breath. Begin to bring your attention back to this space. And when you open your eyes, allow yourself to feel that love, that light, right where you are. On the inside and all around you. And if you'll join me in our meditative affirmation.
Thank you.
because I feel like they're a little bit of a message in themselves, each and every one. So today, March 9th, well, it's Barbie Day. That's fun, but here's one, check your batteries day. Now I know that's an alignment with daylight savings time, but I thought, ooh, I do need to check my batteries. Anyone else? Internal batteries? That's a really good reminder, isn't it? Then it's get over it day. That's a 10-week series right there. But if anyone needs to take that one personal, do. It's a great opportunity to get over it. Because sometimes we stay stuck, don't we? Sometimes it's a good idea to let others over it as well. Anyone else you're holding in captivity of your judgments? I don't know. It is Girl Scout Cookie Day, so that did line up with, like I said, I've always thought, we all start these great resolutions at the beginning of the new year, and then they deliver the Girl Scout cookies. And that messes up at least 75% of everybody's goals for the year, right? They should do them in like the summer. That would be awesome. But it's also National I Am Day. I know, right? So I want to remind you before, it's funny because all of that is a message in itself, each and every one. But I want to remind you today, before I really get started into the message I intended, that your words have great power. And not just the words you speak to others, but the words you speak to yourself. So are you being a friend to you? Would you speak to your closest friend the way you speak to yourself? Now, I don't know. For me, I'm the friend who will give you a kick in the butt when you need it. I'll call you out on your stuff. And I do that for myself as well, and that's good. But I'm also the biggest cheerleader for my friends. I'm the one who reminds them of their truth. When you look in the mirror, is that the conversation you're having? Because when you speak your truths, your I ams, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imaginary. That's been proven scientifically. So when you're telling yourself, I just can't. You've heard, whether you believe you can or you can't is true. Well, think about that. Think about how you're speaking to yourself, but also think about how you're speaking to people around you. Because we get really blind to others. Have you noticed? I've been saying for a while now, I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear it. For a while now, I thought, oh my gosh, we've all forgotten each other. It's like we could bump into somebody in the drugstore and not know if it was, a human or a polar bear because we didn't pay that much attention. I'd like to think we'd notice a polar bear. But we're just that much in our own world. And while we have to take care of ourselves, I believe in all these teachings that we talk about that we are all one. And so if we are all one, then everything we think, everything we say, everything we do affects all others. So Lent invites us into this time of consciousness, if you will, that keeps us from holding back our experiences from our pure potential that begins to rev up to that new birth, right? It's a time of reflection, a time to really examine our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs. And by transforming our inner world, we can transform the outer world. Would anyone like an opportunity to transform the outer world? But the minute we're doing this, we're missing the point. It all has to be here. We have to start with the thoughts going through our own head, with the words that are coming out of our mouth. And that's words behind closed doors, too. And we need to vent. That's important. Let it out. But maybe not to every person you see. When something's bothering you, if you need to speak it, find that safe person who can hold it in prayer. Speak it and let it go. Truly release. But how often, and I'm sure it's no one in this room, but we all know a person somewhere out there who would tell each and every one of us in this room, can you believe what I heard? Do you know what that person did? Did you see what was on the news today? And they go and they complain to everyone they come in contact with, even in the grocery store line, to complete strangers. And I don't go to the grocery store much anymore. I do Kroger Click List. I love it. Pull up and put it in. It's like, it feels so good. I feel like I accomplished 10 times as much as I was spending 2 hours in the store. But when I do go in the store, I notice that people want connection. They'll talk to you, but usually over complaints. Like, oh my gosh, can you believe it's raining today? Now for me, especially if the rain is true, my answer is always, I know, I'm so glad I don't have to water the lawn. I barely remember to water my houseplants. And people look at me a little funny because they're like, wait, I was trying to complain. You missed the point. And yet, what if we treated everybody in that way? When somebody else is having a moment, we remind them of what else is included. Right? Because it's both included. Rain can be an inconvenience, snow even more so for me anyways. Or it can also be an opportunity. It can be. And the freeway is closed on more than half of my route home from work. I work in Southfield. Now, it's more than 2 years ago. And whenever they closed it the other way, I kept saying, man, I just wish it were the opposite direction. We are powerful manifestors. Because going to work, I'm not great at leaving the house at a time, have you noticed? Some of you may know that. So going to work and having to take a longer route is much worse than coming home. But now I'm finding, I want nothing more than to be home at the end of the day. I only wish, no, I'm not going to speak that. I am only grateful that the other direction is over. So where can you shift? How can you treat the world a little bit more like a friend? Charles and Roberta Fillmore really encouraged us to look at our emotions, to feel them, to be real in them, right? And so the emotions are not the problem at all. We're going to be sad, we're going to be mad, we're going to be disappointed, we're going to be frustrated. Give yourself permission to feel those feelings. But then, with love and understanding, go in and ask, what is mine to do with this? Because the story from, I'm going to read to you just a little bit from our Advent book today, is about Jesus going into the Garden of Gethsemane, and he asked a couple of his friends to go with him, but not all of them. But just as he sought out help and support in his time of need, and can you imagine being a part of that story and knowing what's coming? I mean, knowing that a friend is going to betray you, that you're going to be, crucified, that's a lot of burden to carry. And yet, does anyone ever else feel like you have a big burden to carry in some area of your life? And for many of us, especially the helpers and the doers, we hold it in. I want to tell you that the strong people in your life need your support too. The ones that are always smiling, they need a hug too. But also, it's our responsibility when it comes down to it to ask for the support, to reach out. And anyone in here ever hold it in and don't ask for help? I mean, I'll just, And those who are willing to raise their hand kind of do it like this. Shake that off, there's no shame. And I'm one of those. Do you know, I caught myself, this is around Christmas time, I caught myself consciously, I had to laugh, because in my laundry room I have a high ceiling, and the light bulb was out. And it wasn't just a twist, because I could reach that. It's one of those where you take all the screws off, and it takes 3 hands, which I don't seem to have. And yet, did I ask for help from people taller, which is most people in my life? There's friends all over, right? No. I climbed on a ladder, and climbed on the dryer, and then I stepped on the top of the ladder, and there was at one point where I'm like, this is foolish, this is not safe. And when somebody asked, if they asked me to drive across town and change the light bulb, would I? Yeah. Why didn't I? We have that in us. How often would you treat a friend that way? If somebody said, I can't reach us, it's unsafe, would you help? Most of us would say yes. Or even if you couldn't say, I can't, but I know someone who could. Can you give yourself that gift, the same gift? Jesus did. Now, we think of Jesus in these stories we hear, of being the one that can create miracles, right? And yet, even Jesus felt the need to ask for help, company when he prayed. When he needed that support, he was able to find that support and that comfort in the presence of his loving friends. And we can do that too. We have the same opportunity. So again, that is this time of spiritual renewal. So let us really think about the profound importance of friendship, of spiritual community, and the gift as precious as the very breath of our life that these people are in our lives. Even just coming to church on Sunday, you may not know everyone well here, and there may be a couple people you do, but don't you feel comfort just the minute you walk in the door? Like freshly reminded, right? And it's not just like minds, although we prefer those, don't we? Mm-hmm. We prefer people who think like us. And yet, within each and every person, even the people who believe exactly the the opposite that we do. But Christ is within. Charles Fillmore understood that life is meant to be lived in harmony. And I know that's not always easy. But in connection with the divine is the part that we have control over. I know sometimes in this outer world, we see people acting in ways that we don't even understand, much less agree with. But we can simply remember that right there God is too. Sometimes it allows us just to let them. That's one of my, I think I've shared it with you before. Mel Robbins, a great speaker and author, talks about let them. Let them not include you. Let them believe differently. Let them. And when you let them, you are free of the burden of trying to change them, which is not possible other than here. But when you let them, what also comes with that, not only the freedom for you from needing to change them, but the freedom for you to determine what is yours to do. Now, sometimes that means setting a boundary. I have always said I am not meant to play in everybody's sandbox. That's okay. I don't have to like everybody's opinion, because your opinion is not my business. I am not meant to agree with everyone. How boring would the world be if we all listened to the same music, ate the same food, watch all the same shows? We would never have anything new. Now that doesn't mean we don't take action to heal the places or pray for the people who may need it. In Proverbs it says, Proverbs 17:17 it says, a friend loves at all times and a brother is born for a time of adversity. Friends, not just friends, but people are the mirrors that reflect back to us our own thoughts, our own opinions, but also our own divine potential. And think about the friends in your life. And I know we're often around people who are just acquaintances or just maybe even strangers. There's a lot of people, even in my job, there's so many people there that I don't know who they are. But as I look out into the world, I see reflections of parts of me. And so when there's something in someone else that I don't like, I have the opportunity to say, where does that show up in me? But we also have these hands that lift us up when we stumble, lift others up, that support one another. And we may not know how to do that, but simply saying, I see you, I'm here with you. I can't imagine, but I'm holding you in my heart. These ears that can listen even without judgment, I know that's hard sometimes. But if we can just be present in a moment with somebody, that is support. When we go into judgment or opinions, and we all judge. I think that's beautiful. Someone else may think that's the ugliest thing they've ever seen. Both are a judgment. Judgments aren't always bad. But when we go into judgment, we disconnect from the person, from the spirit before us. And again, that judgment could be good. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're buying a house. I have a perfect realtor for you. I've stopped listening. That's not even a bad thought, right? Or whatever it is. So we can come back into this present moment, into this heart that resonates from a place of love. We can be more fully with the person in front of us. I want to share this reading, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I think most of you probably have LUT books. I don't know if there's any more out there, if anyone's missing them. But do know that all of the community books, little booklets that you can get online or just a digital download, which is why I have a printout, not the book. But it talks about the story of Jesus going into the garden, thriving in the garden as a symbol. And we remember Jesus' final night, where he went to a quiet place in Jerusalem. And he had, again, brought a couple of his disciples to pray. And all four Gospels talk of this. And it's based on the scripture. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Matthew 26:36-38 says, Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, Sit here while I go over there and pray. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and stay awake with me. Stay awake. In these verses, we see there's a few lessons to be adopted for ourselves. And I'm just going to read the beginning of each. First is go apart. Jesus wanted to pray alone, but notice he took with him a couple of his disciples, and we're going to talk about the metaphysics of that in a moment. The second is ask for support. In a difficult time, it's okay, at any time, it's okay to ask for support. Even the simplest things. You know, unpacking boxes when I moved, it's like just have somebody sit there and talk to me. Kept me going. Even then. And that wasn't a challenging time. Well, it kind of was. Who likes to unpack, right? But ask for support. Give yourself permission, rather than kind of a hand, but to go, hey, we are not meant to do this life alone. If we are all one, then as we support another, we're supporting all, we're supporting the God, the Christ, the presence of Him. And as we deny ourselves that and neglect ourselves that, we neglect others. We neglect that presence of Christ within. Really think about that. The next is share feelings. And can you believe, our vision of Jesus is certainly not agitated, at least in most stories. But there was that human side. And that's what Jesus was for us, was a human example of our experience. Because our human brains can't usually conceive the all that God is. And so this human experience, anyone ever get agitated? Often? In the last week, maybe? I say kitten, but he's over a year now, so I think that excuse is gone. But my little Lucy has been stealing candy out of the candy jar. Candy's not for kitties. I put something over the candy jar. Somebody went and found a mug that I have on my desk where I have cough drops and started stealing those. Maybe agitated, although he's cute, so it keeps him alive. But even the silly things can agitate, much less the big things. And I know there's some big things in your life and in the world. So support doesn't mean, hey, can you fix this for me? Can you fix that in the world? I mean, if you can, please do. But usually that's not the case. Support says, can you just be present with me? This is how I'm feeling. And the minute you speak it, it allows you to move through it, to feel it and move on. So how many of us have pretended to be tough? The mirror goes out to say, I'm fine, and then declined offers to help. So not just didn't ask, but declined offers. Or thought to yourself, there's people who need it more than me. Well, that's putting a limit on God. Do you really think there's not enough God moving in and through and ask each and every one of us that we can't all ask for support as needed? Really think about that. There's enough. Even when we think about literal things, or external things, I should say, like hunger. Statistically, I've read there's more than enough food in the world to feed the world something like 8 times over. The amount is not the problem, right? Are we willing to ask for support? It goes on to say, at this brief scene, Jesus shows us exactly how someone living in divine consciousness handles a threat that most of us can't even imagine. He prays, he asks friends for support, and he's open about his feelings. So if we consider Jesus to be our way shower, then he is showing us that human feelings are acceptable, even to those aware of their divinity. We don't have to be positive all the time, nor do we have to handle problems alone. We can lean on other people, if only by asking them to be present with us. We can talk about how we are feeling, even when we are deeply grieved, even to death. We are fully human and fully divine, just as Jesus was. At Gethsemane, he shows us exactly what that looks like in the direct circumstances. So the Fillmore's understanding is, we teach that we are spiritual beings having this human experience. And my favorite Tao meditation that I've shared many times, the first line, I think, sums it up. It says, close your eyes and you will see clearly. And so as this human experience is what is around us. One of my dear friends, who some of you may know, passed several years ago, named Sparky, once gave me this demonstration that it was just beautiful for me. Because I used to have this pet peeve that, I'm not allowed to talk directly to God. And I thought, why not? I have to go through Jesus. some belief systems believe that. And I had a coworker say that. Like, I don't agree with that. And I shared that in this little conversation with Sparky. He said, let me show you this. And he drew a little circle. And then he drew a circle around me. He said, this circle right here, this little one, this is you. This is you having this human experience. The circle around it is Jesus having that human experience. All the rest of all that is God. And our human minds can't conceive the allness, but the teachings of Jesus are that human bridge. So can we speak directly to God? Absolutely. But our human minds can't necessarily conceive the all that is. And so we have this opportunity to unlearn from someone who's having the same experience as us. So imagine Jesus as embodiment of divine love, facing this incredible weight of the mission before him. I mean, we know what's going to come, through now and Easter. Can you imagine knowing that's what's coming? Anyone run and hide? No, thank you. And then even learn your friends were going to turn on you? And yet, he asked for help from those friends. Now, I want to share a little bit of metaphysics with you. So in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, the Revealing Word, we learn what some of these different stories and words mean to us personally. Gethsemane means oil press, and it symbolizes the place in our consciousness, so recurring theme, if you notice, it's all here, where the finer essences of the Spirit are pressed forth and raised to higher planes of expression. So he went there and here to go into prayer, to shift his thoughts out of maybe those feelings that were getting in his way. Sit here while I go there and pray. Charles Fillmore says that means in time of distress, we turn instinctively to prayer for help. That Jesus brought all of his faculties, his disciples represent the faculties of our mind, with him in this experience, shows that we can meet our tests successfully only as we apply our powers to each as it arises. We talk about our 12 powers not just because they're beautiful and colorful and represent the disciples, but because they live within us. The power of Mark is strength, understanding. And sometimes those can be hard when looking out with our human eyes to find the understanding. But when we go within into prayer, it allows us to shift in alignment with that Christ presence within us. That helps us then to work with, deal with, face whatever may be before us that we're struggling with. But finally, Peter and the two sons of Zebedee. In crisis, some faculties, remember the disciples and faculties of our mind, need to be quickened and acted before all others. Jesus took with him Peter, John, and James, which represent faith, love, and judgment, to the place where he was going to pray, leaving the other disciples seated just a little distance away. Can you see that faith, love, and judgment or understanding, would serve us really well in times of distress, in times of judgment? And imagine in that moment the fear and the anguish, even in that moment of distress, seeking out the comfort of his closest friends, which are really that faith, that love, that judgment within. He sought their presence. So imagine if in those moments when you struggle with a person, with a situation, if you just pause for a moment and ask for fear to be released to that faith, that love, and that judgment, how you might more quickly think and clearly understand. The acronym that I love is HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. They say you shouldn't make any important decisions when you're any of those. And for me, it's so true. It's so true. And if I could pause at one of those moments and handle whatever it is, maybe it's I need a nap or, those Snickers commercials, right? Those are real moments. Then you're more clear. But the same happens when you're in fear, when you're in judgment, when you're in anger or upset. You're not thinking clear. And prayer can take us there. But calling out to our friends, and our friends can usually, in real terms, our friends can usually believe for us more than we can believe for ourselves. Have you ever called a friend and you're like, oh my goodness, I am so upset. I mean, okay, parents of teenagers here, mine are grown and it still happens. And I will call a friend, I'm like, I can't believe they're about to do this. You know, it's okay, they'll get through it, you know, it's the best we can do, or hey, you know, whatever that friend will say to comfort you. Usually they don't go, oh my gosh, I know there's sugar trash in your car. Usually they don't do that. If you did, you don't call that friend for those moments. But usually that friend comforts you and uplifts you. They can be that faith, that love, that judgment for you when you can't yourself. Worry is probably the worst state of mind for me. And those are the moments when I can call on that friend and just tell me something good or help me think more clearly. And we can be that friend to anyone we come in contact with, not just the people closest to us. So one of the things that I was thinking about this passage in our LUT book, asking for support, and being a friend to others and a friend to myself. The thought crossed my mind, and I did a little bit of looking. Truth Unity is one of the greatest resources out there for Unity teachings. TruthUnity.net. And I ran across this article, and I want to share this with you because it takes that making friends into a point of making friends with life. So I want to close with this reading and then an invitation to you. This is from a book called Adventures in Prosperity by Ernest Wilson. And this chapter 7 is Making Friends with Life. It says, one of the things that we must learn in the conquest of prosperity is to make friends with life. The way to gain a friend is to be one, we're told. The way to make a friend of life is to treat life as a friend. Trust life as you would trust a friend. Go at least halfway in trying to understand and appreciate your environment, your circumstances, your problems, your duties, just as you would go halfway or more with a friend. Do not complain of your circumstances. Take a breath on that one. Do not depreciate or criticize your environment. Maybe another breath is needed. Do not assume that life, I should just put a period there. Do not assume. But he says, do not assume that life is giving you a poor deal. Do not assume that good is withheld from you by some adverse external power. Suspicion, criticism, and fault-finding can ruin a friendship. They do not promote a friendship between you and life. Friendship is based on something more than mere acquaintances with anyone, to be sure. We may grant all persons good qualities, and yet not happen to have enough things in common with them to form a close and enduring friendship. But at least our disinterest or dislike will be tempered by better acquaintance. And with every such acquaintance, there is always an alluring possibility that it may lead to one of the greatest blessings, a real friendship. So he goes on a little further now to say, we cannot be happy or well successful if our life is built upon negative and destructive mental state. I'm going to say that again and check in without judgment. Just notice, though, where that may resonate with you. We cannot be happy or well successful if our life is built upon a negative, destructive mental state. We are weak in proportion to the emphasis that we place upon negation. Great minds are positive minds. Men of greatness always believe in the good. Their attitude towards life is aggressively constructive. They do not simply believe in success, but they act upon their belief. They affirm by what they do the positive character of what they think. They attest their faith in the good, in success, by acting strongly upon their faith. Before I read his last part, I just want to ask you, do you put more of your faith in your fears or in the teachings that we teach in God and the good? Because it's all included, even when we see something that doesn't feel very much like friendship or good. It's still a part of it. It's part of it. And which side are you going on when you see something that you don't like or somebody acts in a way that you don't appreciate? Do you show up? There's a whole nother talk, but about do you show up as the hero, the villain, the victim? To criticize or to help be the solution? To complain or remind people of the truth? So I'm going to put, the book is incredible to check out. But this other piece I want to read to you, he says, negation sometimes serves as a useful purpose in life. It dispels falsity. But negation is not a thing in itself. It is the absence of something. It is a defensive measure to be used for emergencies only. It's like the rubber eraser on your lead pencil. It serves to obliterate mistakes, but it will not take the place of the lead, which is the real working end of your puzzle. When you act upon faith in the good, you never act alone. God is with you. So I just want to close with the thought of that pencil. The eraser often is telling people when they're wrong or when they hurt you, and those conversations have to happen. That's how healing happens. Forgiveness often requires some communication. And forgiveness, Catherine Ponder and many prosperity teachers say that all debt is a form of forgiveness. Unforgiveness, excuse me. All debt is a form of unforgiveness. But unforgiveness and resentments and anger can also block you from your good. But it could be right there and you not even see it because you're so focused on what you're upset about. And I think that eraser can be forgiveness, that eraser can be healing. But there's the other side, that pencil. That pencil has lead on the other side that we create with. So as we go through this Lenten season, I want you to think about, what are you creating? Can we cultivate gratitude for the friendships in our lives and express it even? When's the last time you told somebody what they meant to you? Or the difference they made in your life? Can you be a true friend to others, but also to yourself? How are you treating you? Can you be present with others? Can you listen, truly listen when they need to share? If someone's upset, do you get upset back, or do you ask them if they're okay and truly create a safe place for them to share? Can you seek out support from your community? Can you be support, but can you ask for it for yourself? Can you be a friend to you? Starting with you. Because if you aren't taking care of yourself, what are you demonstrating to those around you? What are we teaching the children? To neglect themselves or to ask for support to care for themselves? Can we go into that prayer and call on faith, love, judgment, understanding? When we lose our way, because sometimes life gets foggy. When we're in our upset emotions, we can't think clearly, and so then we react rather than respond. So I remind you, as we close, to remember that friendship is a sacred gift. For you, for others, it's a reflection of the divine love that sustains all of us. And how can we show up as that? Maybe it's taking time to go away in prayer, asking for others to be present. Maybe it's looking in the mirror and being that source of strength for you. Our friendships are a source of comfort and inspiration. I want to leave you with these words from Charles Fillmore. As we remember this truth, he said, there is no power but God, and God is love. So my friends, this week as we kick off Lent, this journey that often to me really does feel like a new year. That song really was, timely for Lent, I thought. We lead up to this time. Spring is coming, 11 days, by the way. 11 days, go ahead, yes, cheer for that. I'm cheering for that. I can't wait. And of course, it doesn't happen like that. Friendships don't always happen like that. Spring doesn't. We may still get that old stuff after spring. I don't want to speak it. Apparently, I speak the truth, and it happens like the construction. But really think about, what are you bringing? What are you showing up? What are you putting out and creating in the world? And as we have to heal and forgive and release, are you also using the other end of that pencil? Are you creating? What are you creating? Are you spreading that which upsets you, or are you creating that which you desire? Because we have that gift to be a friend to our life, to our world, not just to one another, but that too. To look in the mirror, look around you, and just notice, without judgment, what are you creating? Because the good news is what we do have control over is not everyone around us, but the one looking back in the mirror, and that's where it starts. So now, let's just take another deep breath together. And as we say the Lord's Prayer, sing the Lord's Prayer, as we listen to this beautiful voice, I really do get excited when we land together. I want you to take the Lord's Prayer into your heart and hear it as a prayer. hear what we're asking, as we ask to, forgive us our debts as we forgive others, ooh, really hear that. Have you forgiven others? Because you're asking for the same in return. Or are you holding others in contempt? Really hear this prayer and take it in your heart and allow it to be yours. Some people may be giving online, some people, may give monthly, but each week we have the opportunity to give our love, to give our thanks, our appreciation. And so I want you to hold that thought in your hands as we say our offering prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give joyfully and easily, for the universe is my source, and abundance is my nature. We bless these offerings in all the different ways that we give. We say thank you, God, for providing for our needs, for connecting us, reminding us that we are always connected to that source. And that source shows up in us and as us and as everyone around us, and we're so grateful. We say thank you, God. Amen.
Stop
simple text, that simple phone call, that simple email, that simple conversation. That's the value of what Linda has talked about, but it's also the value of being willing to be present. The past no longer exists and the future isn't here yet, but in this moment, we can remember who we truly are, and we are connected, we are one to everyone around us. So let's share a little love this week. Let's be that friend to the person in the mirror and to the person, whoever it is that's with us in each present moment. I hope you'll have a little fun with it. Make a little extra effort this week. See where it might lead. And now if you'll join me in here, I'll do my hand movements. You don't have to, but the more we embody these truths, the more it shows up and the more other people